Obviously excited to be back. Obviously the snowstorm that came through Texas kind of pushes back a little bit, but it was kind of a blessing in disguise. Got a lot of extra work with the kids for winter conditioning. Was able to get a couple coaches acclimated. Obviously our offensive line coach that helped with that transition. So day three was good. It was fun to be back. First day in pads. Kind of hear the pads pop in a little bit. It's been a while since the last game of the season. So I know y'all spoke with Coach Spavital, just the continuity, a lot of familiar faces, guys back, a lot of things that we were teaching at this time last year. We've moved on from, and it's like breathing now. We don't have to even say it, like alignments and technique things that we spent so much time on. Now we're moving on to more schematic formations, motions, things that we're probably a little bit further ahead at this point of the year, which we were last year. Obviously, we only got 5 last year. And then when we got shut down. But excited about this group, excited about the future, excited for the season. We talked about this to the offense today. We're 3 days in, it'll be 12 more, and the next thing you know, it's going to be fall camp, it's going to be Baylor. It flies by, so we're excited.
Spav's first year, they had 18.4 points per game. You come in, it goes up to 27.7. When you came in, what was the thing that you saw that you were like, we got to get better here?
Yeah, we needed to get bigger. That was the biggest thing that when I talked to Coach Spav when I first got here, when I took this job, he said, we got to go hit some home runs in recruiting. We got to get bigger. We got to get faster. We got to build a matchup. As you saw, and I got to learn like everybody else. The Sun Belt is really good football. You look at all the way across the board. It was a really good conference last year, bowl season, everywhere. It's really good ball. The bigger, faster, stronger is the reason people say it, and that was the big thing that we talked about. We brought in guys like Marcel last year, made an immediate impact. Some other guys across the board, Brock Sturgis, Jamil Jeter, all these different guys that were able to make an immediate impact as transfers and help us immediately get better, and hopefully we'll continue to do that with other new guys that we got, like Liam Dobson. We got Charles Fletcher and obviously Ty Evans and some other guys as we work through the spring to add other guys to the rooms.
Yeah, where are some places that you feel like you can improve on from last season?
Just finishing plays. Obviously, we talk about it all the time. We were a few plays away from being a bowl team, and that was obviously the ultimate goal last year. Was able to get to the postseason. We fell short of that, and a lot of that was self-inflicted at times. We were in some really close games early, and just we need to get over the hump, and these guys got to learn to win too. It's a process that goes along with that, and again, I think going into this season, the schemes are the same. They're hearing a lot of the same language, and again, I think as you hear some of the same things over and over and over again, it becomes who you are. And when I tell Marcel or I tell Jamil or we tell Brady, T-Vet, anything, they know where we're coming from now. It's not foreign language to them anymore. It's what they're used to, and so I think you just continue to see the steps move forward in their development from that regard.
Coach, how much from the Southeast Conference, your experience there coaching at Ole Miss, and then from the West Coast, are you bringing here to Texas State and the Sun Belt? You talked about the Sun Belt type of style of football. How much of it is part of what you've had through your experience level, and how much of it is, hey, I need to coordinate and collaborate with Coach Spavital, what we need to accomplish?
Yeah, obviously in 2016, that was my year with Coach Spavital, and we knew of each other prior, and that was the first time they able to experience each other. And obviously that year we were very successful at Cal. I think we were a top 10 offense, top 5 passing offense, and the game has continued to evolve even from there. I look at 2016, here we are 5 years later, and it's just so different. The game was so different. We talk about the use of tight ends. We were primarily back then a 10 personnel team, and that's what you did. Well, then, myself going to the SEC, Coach Spavital going back to West Virginia, you see both of us start, we're both using tight ends, and that was a part of the game that it really helped our offense evolve and get more multiple, more personnels, more grouping, more, just different looks to create some matchups and the advantage of the offense. And so that's one thing that I think that, as we've gone through this process together again is, just the development of that room and being able to have that availability. And again, this is, Division I football. You watch Coastal Carolina or BYU last year, or Louisiana Lafayette. I mean, there are some really good teams. I mean, in our conference, Louisiana Lafayette goes and beats Iowa State, and Iowa State's playing. I think for New Year's Bowl. I mean, I think they ended up maybe won the Big 12 last year. Or they were in competition for the Big 12 last year, I should say. But I mean, it's some really good football, and I was impressed by it. And again, we got some really good players on this team, and I'm excited to see them, their development in this league too.
A little competition at quarterback this spring between Brady, Tyler, and Ty now that he's in there. How's that working out? What can you tell us about that?
Good. I mean, those guys, you really don't see one without the other two. I mean, they're always together. They're really well liked in the locker room. You can tell guys respond to all three of them. Last year with COVID and injuries, it was a little bit of a unfortunate situation in that room with just the, week to week, one test and, getting whatever the protocols may be. And so, Ty's been a good addition. It's been really fun to watch those guys compete the last 3 days. And again, Ty and Brady, we were talking today, Coach Spav and I were during pre-practice. It's like Coach Spav will start to communicate a play out, and all of a sudden they just run with it. The year two guys, Vitt and Brady, and so that's something you just saw a huge development from that regard. And Ty's day 3 puts in a lot of extra work. He's up here a lot, and so I think he'll be catching up with those guys in terms of the mental aspect. But they're really talented kids. They're really good kids. They put in a lot of work. They're even outside of what's required of them. So they're really balled in right now.
Tell us about the running back room. We're talking to Calvin and Brock today. Tell us where you've seen them improve since the end of the season.
Yeah, what a room that is right now. I mean, every day is a competition. I mean, you look out there, you got Calvin, you got Jeet, you got Brock, and then outside of that, you still got Twyford, who obviously was, him and Rob both, who were big special teams guys last year and provided some really good depth. And so that room is really talented. It's very selfless. I mean, they again, just like the quarterback room, they get along extremely well, and they compete hard every day. But as you know, we got to, it all starts with running the football. Everything, and we talked about this last year, the better you run the football, the more one-on-one matchups you're going to be able to get on the perimeter and take advantage of those. So we want to be able to run the football, and I think, going back studying ourselves last year and how we can improve, and that stays the same. How can we get better matchups, better situations to be able to get those guys like Jeet and Brock and Calvin and the rest of the room, more touches, more opportunities to affect the football game. And it's fun to watch because it was week to week. I mean, you see Brock rush for 100. G came on about week 4, gets eligible, has a really good game, I think, versus Troy. And then you have other guys, all the way across the board. They just all kind of built off each other and were very successful. And again, none of them lost a year of eligibility. They're all, they're the same age as they were last year. So I mean, you look at that, that's a whole other added element that all those guys got multiple years of eligibility back.
Coach just said that Jeremiah Hawkins didn't make it here. Are y'all still looking for another receiver in recruiting? I know you got some spots left.
Yeah, no, we definitely are unfortunate for that. Hate that for him. Just some circumstances. But again, we are, we're actively looking. We're kind of being patient. Obviously, we're sitting here in March, and what it really does, it allows you to kind of see how some of these young guys develop and who's going to be able to help you, maybe that you weren't counting on or whatever it may be. And again, as you build those rooms, what you like is, or what I personally always like, is having different variations. You're not cookie cutter copies. Marcel's different than JB, and JB's different than TJ, and Blake's different than Tweeter, and all the way across the board, you got different body types, guys that can do different things at different parts of the field. And again, it's always about trying to win the matchups, but we're definitely, still going to be looking at, what fits us best and in terms of our needs moving forward.
How much has the recruiting process changed, especially during COVID? With Marcel and Jeter, you can just bring them on the campus, show them around. But then with a Liam and Ty Evans, it's not that simple. It's like you have to use all this technology just to at least show them at least what the campus is like.
Yeah,
So
it completely different. I mean, it was completely a year ago at this time. I didn't even know what Zoom was until now. The Zooms are used everywhere now. FaceTimes. I mean, we did more facility tours on FaceTime that I've ever been a part of, and I think that's something that most programs probably across the country are going to start implementing. Just because travel restrictions, things that go on, but it's a lot of phone calls to a lot of people. For instance, with Liam, here's a kid that's an FCS All-American from Canada that played at Maine. Luckily for us, we had a teammate in Sammy who went to high school together, and there was a familiarity there. And then Ty Evans is a guy that was an Elite 11 quarterback that we had recruited, myself, Coach Spav, at our previous schools, and knew about him, and with some familiarity there. And so a little bit of it's done previous. You've done some of your homework prior. But sometimes it's not. The transfer portal, you look at it every day. I'm sure y'all get the text like we do, and there's a new kid jumping in, and you just got to rely on a lot of people, high school coaches, trainers, previous coaches at other institutions, whatever it may be. And then, again, there's a process that goes along with that. So it's uniquely different for everybody across the country right now. You got high school kids that are signing places and our junior college kids that are signing places they've never been to campus, and so and there's a process that goes along with it. That's why you like to do home visits, you like to do official visits, so you get to know each other a little bit through that. But there's going to be some hit and misses a little bit that goes along with that, unfortunately, with just because the restrictions with the schedule right now.